Hello and welcome hardworking aspirants. In today's class we are going to discuss about the art, architecture, temple and the literature of the Sangam Age. In the first part of the Sangam Age we have discussed about the Cholas, Cheras and the Pandyas and their administrative system. And in today's class we are going to see about the art, architecture, the literature and the other things that are very important when we talk in the sense of the South Indian history or of the Sangam Age. But before we get started with that, a very quick info for you. If you really want to get the PDF of these classes, yes, the PDF of these classes, the very colorful pictures that you're seeing here, if you really want to get them, you should join the Telegram channel of ours. The link is given in the description, and there you can also ask any questions. If there is any question in the slides, we give you the phone number, so you can ask your phone number, or you can put your questions in the Telegram or beneath the comment section here, and we will answer that questions. And also very quick info, if you are preparing for TSPSC Group 1 or for TSPSC Group 2 or for UPSC CSE 2026-27, this is the chance to get straight away 50% discount, and you can call on the numbers given below to inquire for more. So let's get started with our class today, and we'll start with the Sangam Age polity. Those are Sangam Age kingdoms that we see, the Cheras, the Cholas and the Pandyas that we have already seen. We will also see the rise of the several independent Tamil kingdoms. Okay, and these independent kingdoms will be known as the Nadu. Some of the major ones included the Cheras, Cholas and the Pandyas, and each of these kingdoms had its own ruling dynasty and the territorial boundaries. We'll also see the local chieftains or the Palayakars managed various regions within the kingdom. These chieftains were responsible for collecting taxes, maintaining law and order. The justice system during the Sangam period was based on the principle of fairness and justice. Disputes were resolved through assemblies or councils known as kudis. So this is something which you should know, and it consisted of elders and respected peoples of the society. If you remember, the very same thing was with the Sabha and Samiti at the time of the Vedic period. So you can interlink these all the things for better remembrance. When we talk about the social structure of the society was broadly divided into four varnas: the Brahmins, that is the priests and the scholars, and then the Kshatriyas, that is the warriors and the rulers, and the Vaishyas, that is the merchants and the traders, and then we see the Sudras, that is the laborers or the service providers. Women had a relatively higher status in Sangam society compared to the later periods in Indian history. They were actively involved in various professions including poetry, administration and trade and commerce. The people of the Sangam period practiced a mix of indigenous, that is the Dravidian beliefs was there, as well as the Vedic traditions were also followed. The worship of nature, ancestors worship and the veneration of regional deities were very common at that time. When we talk about the handicrafts of at that time, so first and foremost for the textile, Urayur was very famous for fine cotton textile, highly valued in both local and foreign market. Especially the Romans were very fond of it. Weaving was a major occupation with both cotton and silk products present there. Then let's talk about the metal work. The blacksmith produced weapon tools and ornaments from iron, copper and gold. Goldsmiths crafted intricate jewelry, and there was expertise in making beads from semi-precious stones and glass. Pottery and other crafts, if we talk about, pottery was advanced with both utilitarian and decorative wares. Artisans also excelled in carpentry, shipbuilding, ivory carving, and making bangles and combs from shells and bones was quite very prominent at that time. We also have the pearl fishing. Korkai, a Pandya port, was renowned for its pearl fisheries, exporting pearls to North Indian and the Roman world. So these Pandyas were very famous for the pearl, and they had their symbol also as the fishes. That is something that you should know about. Now the next thing is the art and culture, and let's see about the music and dance. Poetry, music and dance were integral to Sangam society. Bats, that is the Panars, and female singers, that is the Viralayar, performed in royal court and public gatherings. Drama, the Kuthu or the folk theatre was a popular form of entertainment that blended music, dance and drama that were performed during festivals and social events. Language and script, if we see, the development of Tamil language and script was a significant cultural achievement. The Tamil script, called the Vettalettu, evolved during this period. So Vettalutu was evolved during the period of the Sangam age. While few physical remains survive, literally references and recent archaeological findings that the very famous the Kijadi or the Kiladi excavation we have seen, it suggests that the painting and decorative arts were also practiced at that time. And let's now talk about the architecture. When we talk about the architecture, the Sangam age was a urbanized period. The Sangam period saw the rise of the cities like Madurai, Urayur and Korkai, all of them very famous in the Chola, Chera and the Pandyas regions. Buildings were mostly made of perishable material, that is the wood, thatch and brick were used. So little survives archaeologically. And the public works, if you see, the period is noted for large irrigation, tanks and dams. The dam like the Kalanai, that is the grand anicut built by the Karaikal Chola, is that reflects the advanced engineering of that time. And then we also have the hero stones. What was the hero stones? The memorial stones or the Nadukal were erected to honor fallen warriors, often inscribed with the hero's name and deeds that they obviously performed. These are important archaeological and artistic remains of that time. Here we see a portrait which is showing the grand anicut, that is the Kalanai, that was built by Karaikal Chola. The school of arts, if we see, so obviously there are going to be 4 school of art, including one, the rock cut architecture, that was very famous. So we have the Chera school of art, and the Pandya school of art. Talking about it, let's see the Vetuvuan Koli temple, and we are also seeing the other temple. Let's see the Chera school of art here. The Chera dynasty developed its own unique style of temple architecture and art. The Chera temple often featured wooden architecture and elaborate roof structure. So they are using wood there. And one of the very famous is Thiruvanchikulam Mahadeva temple. And the Chola school of art, when we talk about it, it is characterized by the grand temple complexes. Till today we see them. Intricate bronze sculptures and majestic temple towers, that is the Bimanas. The Brihadeshwara temple in Thanjavur, built by Raja Raja Chola, one stands as a testament to Chola architecture and artistry. You can see that temple in the image that we have already shown to you. Then when we talk about the Pandya school of art, the Pandya school of art was known for its distinctive temple architecture and sculptural design. The Meenakshi temple in Madurai, it features finely crafted sculptures, pillared halls and towering gopurams, that is the entrance towers. Okay. When we talk about the rock cut architecture, South India during the Sangam age witnessed the development of rock cut architecture, particularly in the form of cave temples and monolithic sculptures. We'll see these sculptures were carved directly into the rock formation. Example include the rock cut cave temples at Mahabalipuram depicting various deities and mythological scenes, and the Arjunan penance relief that also can be seen here related to Mahabharata of that time. Now, when the temple architecture in the Sangam age, we see there are few of the points that we should also consider. Temple during the Sangam age, that is from the 3rd century before the Common Era to 3rd century Common Era, were mostly simple structure that were made of perishable materials like brick, wood and clay, which is why very few have survived today. That is the point number 1. Number 2, early temples are mentioned in Sangam literature as Kottam, Niyamam and Coil. They were often brick shrines dedicated to deities such as Murugan, Shiva, Amman and Vishnu. The earliest shrines were typically small, with a small sail, that is a podeil, containing a wooden plank, that is a kantu, for worship, and sometimes painted deities on the walls. Temples were often built on raised platforms to protect against floods, especially in the riverine areas, and the granite was not yet commonly used. Brick, mud and mortar were the main materials, making these temples vulnerable to natural decay. So these are some of the important points related to the temple architecture of the Sangam age that you should remember, and this also differentiates the reason that why we can't see most of the temples today. So when we see the temple architecture, we have already done this temple architecture in our art and culture class, where we have already prepared the playlist of 25 plus classes. You can go and visit there for the temple architecture. But nonetheless, what we see here, this is known as the Vimana, and then at the top we have the Shikara. Garbhagriha is the sanctum sanctorium where the idol is kept, and the Mandapa, that is the hall, the pillared hall that you are seeing, that is known as the Mandapa. Some notable examples, let's see the temples. We have the example of Saluvannakupan, and we also have the Murugan temple that is near Mahabalipuram. Oldest brick signs dedicated to the Murugan with 3 structural layers. The lowest is from the Sangam period. Then we see the Vitturunudha Perumal temple, that is the Veppaputhur, and another rare pre-Pallava brick temple dedicated to Vishnu. And then we will see the Madakoil temples, that is in Thanjavur. Kumbakonam belt, that is elevated shrines built on raised platforms, that is empty tala is there to protect from floods. The kings at that time made it sure that if there is flood, the temple is protected, attributed to King Kochan Ganan in the late Sangam, post Sangam period. Example, Madakoil at Nallur is the great example for that. So here you see these are the remains of the Murugan temple that you can see here, and also the Vitturunudha Perumal temple and also the Madakoil temples of the Chola temples can be seen here. Additional points about the Tamil temple architecture, if we see, temples were often built on raised platforms to protect against floods, especially in the riverine areas. Granite was not yet commonly used. This also we have seen already. Both Shaivism and Vaishnavism flourished, with temples dedicated to both Shiva and Vishnu were there, and many later temples in Tamil Nadu were built on the foundations or sites of these earlier Sangam age shrines. Okay, when we talk about the Sangam literature, that is very important. So again, the Sangam literature will also be compiled at this period, and we'll see the Sangam age. It also comes from the this 3 Sangam literature assemblies that happened, 2 of which happened in Madurai, and the third one also happened under the patronage of the Pandyas, and the Kabdapuram was where the second one happened. The first and third happened in Madurai. The term Sangam means assembly or academy, referring to the gatherings of poets and scholars in Madurai under the patronage of the Pandya king. So the 3 Sangams that happened, the first one, what we see that was attended by the gods and the learned sages, but unfortunately we don't have any of the works surviving. The second one, which happened in Kabdapuram, there we were left with only one literary work, and that was Tolkapiyam. Tolkapiyam was written by Tolkapiyar, and it talks mostly about the Tamil grammar and also about the socio-economic customs of that time. And after that, the third Tamil Sangam that happened in Madurai, we have most of the literary work of that time surviving. So the genres that we see is Akam. Akam means focus on personal emotions, love and relationship, that is the inner. And there is Puram. Puram is outer, that is deal with heroism, war ethics, philanthropy and the public life. Okay, let's see the major works of that time that were there in the literature. So first, Tolkapiyam we have already seen, the oldest extant Tamil work covering the grammar and the social life. Then is Etutokai. Etutokai or the 8 anthologies includes collections like the Akanunuru, then we have Purana Nuru, then we also have Korunthogai and Natinai. Okay, then we have Pattu Pattu. Pattu Pattu is the poems highlighting regions, rulers and prosperity. We have epics like the Silapatikaram and Manimegalai. So as in North India we see there is Ramayana and Mahabharata. In the South India we see there are these 2 epics known as Silapatikaram and Manimegalai. Okay, this is something that you should remember. Now, the themes and features that were there were like the love and heroism. Poems use natural imagery and symbolical landscapes to express emotions and social values. And the society and culture, where rich details about the governance, trade, warfare, ethics and daily life are found in this literature. The poetic devices were like the metaphors, personification and specific flora and fauna as the symbols. And several poems were composed by women, which was notable for that era. Sangam literature is a crucial source that we saw for understanding the South Indian society, its values and the histories. It was largely preserved by the monasteries and revived in the 19th century by the scholars like U.V. Swaminathan Iyer, who compiled and published this ancient text. Let's see few of the questions. Which dynasty is extensively mentioned in the Purananuru, a Sangam literature text? So when you read about this Sangam literature text, you also got to know about them, that what basically they talk about. So what is the correct answer? Pandyas. The Puranuru highlights the valor and administrative practice of the Pandya dynasty. It provides historical insights into the territory, patronage of literature and cultural contributions. The term Movender in Sangam literature refers to what? So we have already discussed it in the first part when we were discussing the Sangam Age, Chola, Chera and Pandyas and their administration. So the three Tamil kingdoms, that is the Chola, Cheras and Pandyas, were known as the Movender. That is what we know. Which of the following ports was associated with the Pandya dynasty? So when we talk about the Pandya dynasty, the port that was there is Korkai. Korkai was the major port of the Pandyas, known for pearl fishery. And also please remember that the emblem of the Pandyas was the fishes or the fish. The So temple at Mahabalipuram was built under the patronage of the very famous Pallavas, the So temple. It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, was constructed during Narasimhavarman II's reign, that is somewhere around 8th century Common Era under the Pallava dynasty. The last question, which statement about Sangam literature is correct? The correct statement about the Sangam literature, it lacks reference to material culture, the Varna system was unknown to its poets, it acknowledged the warrior ethic, and magical forces are termed irrational. So the correct answer here is it acknowledged the warrior ethic, because we have seen that heroism along with the warrior ethics and material culture was present there, and the Varna system is also mentioned in the text like the Tolka PM. So with that we have come to the end of this class. If you really want the PDF of this classes, comment in the comment section and also join the Telegram channel. You will get the PDFs. And if you are an aspirant and preparing for UPSC, TSPSC or APPSC examination, this is the opportunity for you to get one-on-one live mentorship with Deepika ma'am. Deepika ma'am is our mentor also, who has made it very easy for hundreds of aspirants to join the administrative services. So you can call on the numbers given below to inquire for more. Nothing harming in calling. Okay, you can always inquire for your knowledge, and you can always subscribe so that we meet again. Keep working hard. Thank you.